The bold face of the new generation Ford Rangers and Everest is totally unmistakable. It's got bigger, it's got bolder, it's more like the F-250s in America, for example. They've just grown so much bigger. And of course, what they term the C-clamp, daytime running light around the headlights, is just something that you can't miss, especially when you see it in your rear view mirror on a freeway, for example, when one of these comes up behind you and you know you better get out of the way. There just is no doubt about it. But this is the XLT model, which was brought in afterwards, as Ford have done in the past, as the entry to the range. But I use the word entry with a little bit of hesitation, because this one's still got so much, maybe just a bit less than the Wild Track and Platinum models. So it's interesting in that sense. You'll notice it doesn't have quite as much cladding around the wheel arches, for example, and your wheels are 18 inches, whereas they go up to, I think it's 21 inch on the Platinum model, for example. So it's little things like that that are different, and maybe, I hate to use the word lacking, but different I think is a better word. It's a long, big vehicle. Let me tell you, every time I drive into a shopping center in this, I realize just how big it is when you're in a parking bay or a parking area, but it doesn't feel big on the road while you're behind the wheel, and that's really the important thing and the important factor. Let's pop open the back door quickly and have a look. And as I say, the entry-level model, but it's still got full leather. It's still got in the center an aircon vent, aircon control, and it's got USB A and C for the middle row passengers. But let me just jump into the middle row over here, and you can see the two seats are more or less in the same position. So I'll just jump in on this side, and in standard format, tons of legroom, decent headroom, and a nice feature being you can adjust the seat forward or backwards, which obviously you would do depending on whether you're using the rearmost seats or not. So those are things you just think about and make it nice and versatile, shall we say. There's no sunroof or panoramic roof on this model, so it does probably add a bit of extra headroom, and there are nice aircon vents in the roof over there for rear passengers. That's comfort and convenience that you are always concerned about. Something else that I've just spotted that's very interesting, that I haven't noticed on many other test cars, is the buttons on the rear doors to lock and unlock all the doors on the car. Can sometimes be an inconvenience. So quite a nice little feature that they've added there. And I'll tell you now, I just noticed it right now. You come round to the back, and you've got the interesting angled, that reminds me of the Mustang, quite honestly, tail lights over here. Note that they are in, of course, both in the rear panel and into the tailgate, but just features that you see and pick up. Well, you've got the remote, can I call it, opening and closing of the rear hatch, and you've got a little area here, and your spare wheel, remember, is one like a bucky, because this is bucky based, so you would wind it down to get your spare wheel out. Bit of a nuisance, but it's one of those things you have to do. Now, typically, and like all its competitors, as a 7-seater, you don't get much boot space, do you? That's very, very limited.
My name is Michael Pashut, and I'm the proud owner of Change Cars and the host of the TV show All Things Motoring. But I'm even prouder today to say that I work with Alan Rosenmeyer from Motor Matters, better known as the man with a hat. If you're looking for the best reviews on all new vehicles, Motor Matters. If you're looking for the best deals on new or used cars, changecars.co.za, where every car is sold by a 5-star rated manufacturer approved dealer.
Because it is the entry model again, you don't get buttons over here and remote or anything to drop the rear seats. You have to pull a lever and do that. Don't think it's that difficult. Let's just do that quickly, because let's just check this out. It's going to be quite a climb, because note one thing, although it's level over there to load, it is pretty high up to get into the rear hatch. So let's just see. In 5-seater format, hey, this could just be a 3 Allen boot as a 5-seater. As a 7-seater, it's probably a 1/4 Allen boot. But anyway, just joking a little bit, but you press the button to close the rear tailgate. Now this model is powered by the 2-liter bi-turbo diesel engine that is so familiar in the Fords. 154 kilowatts and 500 newton meters of torque. In this one, driving all 4 wheels, XLT. But there's a little secret in the XLT range that I think, not here on test, could just be the real bargain in the mix. And that's the exact same engine, same drivetrain, 10-speed automatic gearbox, but only driving the rear wheels. Because I bet you none of these ever go off-road anyway. Let's check it on the road. Let's have a look inside. Out on the road, the biggest thing of the new generation Everest has got to be the exceptional smoothness and ride comfort. What Ford have done with the rear suspension is way beyond my technical knowledge and my technical ability, so I'm not even going to attempt to explain it to you. But all I know is both the Ranger and the Everest have got the most exceptional ride quality in every circumstance, in every situation. So we're out on a country drive, Cullinan area, we're just leaving Cullinan, driving through the fields on a nice piece of open road, 154 kilowatts and 500 newton meters of torque under my right foot, driving through Ford's 10-speed auto transmission, which you all know so very, very well, and I don't have to say anything to you. You never feel a gear shift unless you really want to put your foot down hard, and it'll respond if you do that. But that's not what this car's about. Now this one we're in today is the XLT. It was the recent addition to the range as the entry model into the Everest range. So maybe it's missing a couple of the active safety features that you get on the Wild Track or the Platinum model, but it's got all the rest of it. It's still got the 7 seats, of course. You've still got luxury, you've still got wireless Android Auto, you've got blind spot warning, you've got all these things. So really, and of course that massive tablet screen, let's not forget that one. You've got it all, obviously at a bit of a lesser price, but it certainly still comes in, and it certainly still does everything you can possibly ask from it in a nice large 7-seater family SUV of that type. And really, I must say to you, if you're looking for a vehicle of this type, of this size, and you're not going to go off-road, you could do dirt roads because you've got the ground clearance, you've got things like that, but you're not going to do off-roading. There is a 4x2 version available, rear-wheel drive only, which is obviously cheaper, and also without the 4x4 hardware. Remember, it's going to be lighter and a bit lighter on fuel. Keep that in mind. It could just be the absolute sweet spot in the range. You never ever know, do you? Getting in behind the wheel, as we always do, it's got the full instrumentation as per most of the Ford models. I'm not going to scroll. You know what it's all about. You know what you're going to see when you want. The important facts are 335 kilometers done, 9.7 liters per 100. Now that does involve a fair bit open road cruising. I would say split 50-50 between open road and urban. So I think you should be able to run this car at around the 10 liters per 100 as an average figure. If it's only urban driving, expect 11. I can tell you that much. Now, again, I'm going to say to you, because of course it is the XLT, you do not get, for example, active cruise control that you get on the Platinum model, just as an example. But you do get cruise control. You get all those features. You know that the cruise control, is on this side over here, but you get cruise control. A feature I do like is you get auto headlights and auto high beam. So yes, thank you for that, Ford. I do appreciate that. You do get a lane departure warning over there, so you get the little warning, those lines go green when you're on the freeway and then red if you go out of your lane, for example. I think you know what I'm referring to. But you don't get the active lane departure, lane keep, etc. You do get blind spot warning in the mirror over there, but you may not get the active again. So that is what you're not getting on this one. I'm just sort of covering a number of the differences because that's the most important. What you do get, of course, is the gigantic tablet screen. It's linked to Android at the moment. The Android Auto is seamless and it's wireless. It works beautifully. It's really nice and it works very, very well. And you get that massive screen that can split it and give you what you want. I've shown it to you before, the same as I've shown you the legroom and the space for the 7 seats before. So we're not showing you that right now, and that's the reason we're not going there. But it's very much like the rest of the range. You understand how it works. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Down here, there's a nice space for your phone. The only thing the space for the phone doesn't have is inductive charging, but it is a nice place. Again, you want the more expensive models if you want that. Your USB A and C over there as well. So those are there. Your 10-speed auto gearbox, I find it totally seamless, totally easy, and works beautifully. I really have no issues with it. No flappy paddles on this one. There is a little switch on the side of the gear shifter. I couldn't be bothered to use it. 4x4, 2 high, 4 high, 4 low, turn the dial, there you go, as they say. And here you can just press for different terrains if you want to use the terrain system as well in conjunction with the 4-wheel drive, etc., etc. You have a nice big compartment over here. It's also very useful, and there is a 12 volt in there, but no more USBs. But it's there, it's useful, it's convenient. So it's got everything you want. You can see you've got the nice split cubby hole over here, the small top one and the bigger bottom one. It's got all these sort of things you want, you expect. It's as easy as that. So it's got all of what you want, good quality leather interior, but there are the few things that they've deleted, obviously, to get it to a price. And that's where it all comes in, and where only you can make a decision. I have that strange feeling that the bargain is actually in the rear-wheel drive version and not the 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive version that I'm in right now. I don't believe many of these will ever go off-road. You've still got the ground clearance, you've still got all those things for dirt roads, for pavement hopping, or for anything of that sort that you may desire. So the question just becomes, how much money do you want to spend? As we're in it right now, you're looking at 913,000 Rand in the current market. The 2-wheel drive version that I keep mentioning, the rear-wheel drive, let's call it that, everything else the same, 848. So you're looking at 60,000 Rand difference. I like the Everest, I really do. I think it's the ride quality is what stands out and keeps standing out in this vehicle. Just the comfort and the quality of that, especially on a freeway, on the open road, stands out to me. And that's the big thing. The 2-wheel drive version would be lighter on fuel, would be a slightly lighter vehicle, obviously, because it doesn't have the 4x4 hardware. I want to test one. Ford, please organize me one, because I'd really like to. We all know the obvious contenders. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about them, but the Fortuner, obviously, the Pajero Sport, the Isuzu MU-X, and I'm going to leave somebody out. I know when I do this, I always forget one option, but you know what I'm talking about. But this vehicle also has one other little secret that hasn't been mentioned as much as I thought. Its Ranger sibling is the reigning 2023 SA Car of the Year. Many people have forgotten the fact that this actually placed second overall. Just keep that in mind as a final thought. For Motomators, I'm Alan R. See you next time.